Amy, half-dressed, shockingly propositions her best friend's husband, leading to a confrontation. Accusations fly as she claims assault, leaving the marriage and friendships in jeopardy. Hey everyone, Lurker here. I have tried posting this from a different account. However, it did not work, so I hope this works. I have been with my beautiful wife for close to 10 years. We have no kids as of now. My wife's best friend, Amy, has been friends with my wife for about 15 years, all throughout college where I originally met my wife. My wife and I have never been the best of friends. However, we have been cordial for the sake of my wife. I have always found her to be obnoxious, loud, and entitled, the kind that inserts herself into any and every conversation, whether that be on a night out with friends or a private conversation. For example, my best friend and I were talking about fertility issues in his marriage during a dinner with our longtime friends. We were quiet enough so that nobody could hear us over the chatter. Yet, she found a way to be nosy and make a comment on how she would kill herself if she could not do the one thing a woman was made to do. This pissed off my best friend, Max, and his wife to the point where they excused themselves and left early to go home. Now on to the actual situation at hand. Amy's boyfriend, Khalid, had left her due to her annoying personality. I think it was more of a build-up, but what set him off was when Amy purposely did not feed their dog while he was on a work trip because he was sleeping while she was drunk and calling him to collect her. That is only the tip of the iceberg. Amy has always been weird with me. She has constantly tried to DM me on Instagram, trying to make conversation about gossip in our friend group or completely random things. I have always ignored her. My wife has always seen past her strange behavior. She refused to believe her dearest best friend would have ill intentions. Anyway, after their breakup, Amy came over to our house to see my wife. My wife was feeling ill on this day, so she took pills to help her sleep and fell asleep in a matter of an hour. I could not ask Amy to leave in the state she was in, so for my wife, I suggested she could sleep in the guest bedroom. She agreed and went to bed. I was in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner, and she waltzed into the kitchen with nothing but undergarments on. She acted shocked and claimed she did not know I was still in the kitchen. I felt extremely uncomfortable and decided to call it a night. However, she started stripping and approaching me, telling me how my wife does not have to know and she has seen the way I have looked at her. I was completely baffled and told her she has gotten the wrong idea and to be ashamed to do this to her own best friend while I try to scurry out of the kitchen. However, she practically leaped in front of me and touched my privates. Without a second thought, I hit her. I know I could have easily pushed her, but in the moment, I panicked and punched her in the face. Her eye was left bruised. She started wailing, enough that my wife woke up and stumbled into the kitchen to see her best friend, naked and bruised. She then went on about how I tried to rape her and that I am a disgusting human being and she should divorce me. I snapped back that she approached me, naked, and a rejection was not enough for her to back off, so I punched her, hence the bruise. My wife did not say anything. Instead, she fainted, and I immediately brought her to the hospital. My wife is now okay but refuses to talk to me about what happened. On the other hand, Amy has now accused me of attempting to have sex with her in our friend group. The majority of people do not believe her, but there are a few who live by always believe a rape accusation. The other half told me I messed up by punching her and fueling this anger. Amy has ruined my life. I am afraid my wife will divorce me, and this goes to court. I have already contemplated suicide many times. I do not know where to go from here. What do I do? Where do I go from here? Any advice is appreciated. Edit. I know this story sounds absurd, and I wish it were fake, but it is not. The unnecessary details were brought in to point an overall picture of her character. I guess it is worth mentioning my wife feels like she owes her life to Amy for getting her out of an abusive household when they were teenagers. They are practically like sisters. Amy was also not drunk. Edit 2. A few things I would like to clarify to avoid confusion. Amy claims to have gone to the kitchen to get a glass of water, not knowing I was still there. She then claims I took advantage of her. This incident happened at approximately 3 a.m. It is now 8 a.m. She came up with this story and posted it in our group chat right after she went back home. The majority of our friend group have to get up early for their responsibilities. Hence, this is how this misinformation has spread like wildfire. I have been getting individual direct messages on advice and opinions since where I have concluded the majority are on my side. Some say I should not have punched her, and the rest believe her. My wife has been up all night and refuses to talk to me. I have not tried to push her to talk to me. For now, she needs time to process it. Relevant comments. Was your wife able to see that the only clothes in the kitchen were her underwear? Yes, my wife saw her underwear on the floor. Amy claims to have not known I was there, hence only the underwear. My wife is not talking to me at all. Not a good morning, not anything. It is almost like she is shell-shocked and I am worried about her health. I am afraid if I contact law enforcement they will favor her, and the bruise on her eye does not favor me in any way either. You took the believability too far with your wife fainting. Yes, my wife fainted upon seeing her best friend naked and bruised, and both of us yelling at her. The doctor said she fainted from shock, and she was already ill with low blood pressure. Of course, I took her to the hospital. She is my wife. More on wife fainting. Thank you, I appreciate this. My wife does have a history of fainting, especially as mentioned in my edit. She was subject to an abusive household which she has PTSD from and goes to therapy for. I do not think seeing how I gave her best friend a black eye would ignite any other reaction in her. Her shock is most likely a trauma response as well. So I am trying to keep my composure together. Has the friend stayed before? The friend has stayed over before. It was a normal occurrence, and no, she has never paraded around naked, not in front of me at least. My wife refuses to speak to any one of us. But I suppose her story could easily be believable because she claims to have just wanted a glass of water and did not realize I was there. Her whole story is based on me catching her by surprise and not being able to resist my urges. It is messy. Do you have proof of her being inappropriate in the past? Unfortunately, the most I have is her constant direct messaging, but it was nothing flirty or inappropriate. I have brought this up to my wife, and she had brushed it off as her just being nosy as most of the messages were related to gossip. Other than that, her constant need to insert herself in a conversation I am part of. However, none of these would be convincing enough as people just take it as her personality. Amy's story. According to her, she went into the kitchen for a glass of water. Then, according to her, I followed her, saw that she was half naked, and decided to take advantage of her. Crazy, I know. Why would wife believe Amy over you? I try to understand her really. She has known Amy longer, and Amy has helped her get through pretty deep stuff in their teens. I know my wife has her reasons for reacting the way she did, but it is getting tiring trying to compete with her best friend. Why did your wife take sleeping pills to sleep? Like I have mentioned, my wife spent an hour or two comforting her. My wife also has been ill and took sleeping pills to help her sleep as requested by Amy, who also claimed to be tired. It was 3 a.m. at this point. Date 1. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their support, input, and advice which I have used profusely in this situation. On the other hand, a lot of people thought this story was fake or some sort of gross fantasy. It was not. I am still suffering the aftermath of what has happened. I have not slept nor eaten since. For the people who proceeded to say I should have had sex with Amy or direct messaged me calling me a sicko, I truly hope you find peace in your lives. And to the comments calling me an AH, which were interestingly mostly from men, I truly hope you treat the women in your life with the same respect and equality they deserve. Now on to the update. A lot has happened in the past 9 hours. Someone made a suggestion to text Khalid, and so I did. Khalid was just as distraught as me and admitted that this was in fact not the first time she has screamed rape, just like some of you had suspected. She has threatened to scream rape to use Khalid to stay in the relationship with her. He got out of it by installing cameras without her knowledge and contacting a lawyer in case she went through with her claims. This worked in my favor. He was very supportive and sympathetic. I confronted Amy with all the fallacies in her story and mentioned the existing evidence Khalid still had if she was interested in taking her claims to the court. She panicked and told me no, apologized and said she was not in her right mind after the breakup. I got her to admit this in the group chat, as I am not interested in false rumors spreading about me in case someone was still unsure of the situation. She shortly left the group chat and has cut off contact with everyone. In other words, has become unreachable. I explained to my wife what had happened. She had seen all the messages with her confession anyway. My wife told me she genuinely did not know who to believe and was contemplating divorce at that moment. I was heartbroken. I told her I needed time to process everything that had happened in the past 14 hours. I will be sleeping in the guest bedroom tonight. I am happy she believes me now, but it does not sit well with me that it took an actual confession out of Amy for my wife to side with me. I have been with my wife for 10 years and would expect her to know me better than that. But at the same time, she did not know Amy was capable of something like this in 15 years. My marriage has definitely taken a hit with this situation. Although, I love my wife and have seen past every other time she has defended Amy. This situation is something I cannot get over overnight. I thank you all for helping me navigate this situation. Edit. I am very aware and understanding of my wife's situation. She feels indebted to Amy and there is definitely a power play at hand. However, my wife has laughed off the incident and dismissed the fact of how traumatizing it was for me. She still refuses to see Amy as the villain and is blaming it on the emotional heartbreak of her breakup. Relevant comments. If you stay with your wife, Amy cannot be allowed back into your lives. I agree with you. I could not move past that. Someone shares their own story of SA and offers some defense of the wife. I am very aware and understanding of the situation. I was absolutely willing to look past it until she said she was contemplating divorce me. No evidence, no nothing. We have been married for 10 years and I have never given her any reason to doubt me. There was a lot of sacrifice involved, as with every marriage. So this statement broke me, especially as she was laughing it off. I completely understand you and I thank you for sharing and sympathize deeply with your situation. Nobody deserves that. However, I am now convinced to take this to a lawyer in case she pulls it on anyone else. Although I doubt they will side with me, it is worth a shot and my wife is begging me not to. It hurts that she is completely looking past how traumatizing this was for me too. God forbid, but if a woman got SA'd and her husband begged her not to take it to court, I would be questioning the character of her husband. I was able to not process the actual incidents because I was too concerned for my wife and marriage, but now that it is blown over, the effects are really beginning to seep in. People are calling the wife disgusting, but she has probably been Amy's punching bag too. I do not think my wife is disgusting and horrible at all. I love her very much. It was disappointing, sure, but I can understand her reasons. She feels indebted to Amy. I will not be jumping onto divorce. I need to figure out if our relationship is salvageable. However, it is difficult right now as she has completely dismissed the fact how traumatizing it was for me too and still refuses to see Amy as the villain. Update 2. So it has been a bit over 2 months since the incident occurred. Needless to say, it has been a hectic 2 months. In short, my wife's best friend, Amy, forced herself onto me. I hit her. She accused me of SA. Wife believed Amy until she was backed into a corner and confessed to the truth. Wife did not give much importance when it came to me and proceeded to laugh it off and call it a big misunderstanding. Now for the actual update. I tried to make it work. I really did. For 2 months I tried to brush it off and dealt with wife still having frequent hangouts with Amy and telling me about them all excitedly as if her own best friend did not just try to have sex with me. However, the last straw was a few days ago where my wife was telling me how her and Amy are planning a trip to Greece for the summer holidays and how she cannot wait to finally have a break from life stresses. I simply said nothing and walked away from her. She followed me and asked me if everything was okay, and I straight up told her how I cannot believe she would dismiss the fact that Amy accused me of rape when in actual fact she forced herself onto me, and how when it came to Amy, she believed her and was willing to divorce me on the spot, but when it came to me, she brushes it off and continues to have her girly hangouts with the very friend who tried to destroy our marriage. I blatantly told her she does not care for me. My wife started bursting into tears and had the audacity to ask me, "At that again? Why cannot you just get over it?" I do not know why I thought she would have listened now. I had enough at that point and told her we are getting a divorce. Walked away and started to pack my suitcase as she tried her hardest to stop me. Pulling my shirt, hitting me, throwing things, going from calling me names to begging me to stay. I walked out and am now staying at a hotel while her and her family blow up my phone. I do not know what to do. Relevant comments. Are they having an affair? I have thought about it. If that were the case, would not my wife leave more willingly? I guess it is worth mentioning she said she is going to make this divorce hell if I go through with it. If this were the case, what is she gaining by staying with me? Moreover, what is she gaining from fighting the divorce at all? Maybe it was a sort of test by your wife? There is definitely more to the story. It does not make any sense to me either. At least you do not have kids. The worst thing is you will lose money. I am luckier than most people. The house is mine and we have no joint bank accounts. She also does not work and has no support system, I guess, apart from Amy. Why are you the one going to a hotel then? She would not have left willingly, and I really did not want to forcefully do anything, as at this rate, who knows what lies she would come up with. The house. Yes, I have owned it before marriage. Keep records of everything. Thank you. I am currently screenshotting all of her angry texts as we speak. She does not have a job? She had a job.